try that again. A little better. Turn the music down, turn the mic up. Maybe that's what we'll do. Oh. Good evening. Yeah, we are definitely going to have to readjust this this camera. We'll adjust this. We'll adjust this later. Here. Let's see if we can't do this. New setup. Trying to redo this stuff just a little bit. You can't see my saddle. You can't see my skulls. All you see is me. I had to readjust my mic. There we go. That works. Ah, there you go. That looks good. You see a bunch of books, bunch of pipes. It is what it is. So, I have been seeing this guy all over my feeds. He is part of Unfuck America. Yeah. Progressive, liberal, Trump deranged syndrome. I don't know what you want to call him. He says he's independent, but when you actually listen to him, he's far from independent. And so this popped up, and this was a debate that he had. I don't know exactly when he had it, but it's been recent because from what I've seen so far, it was streamed live on the 7th. So that was last night. I missed it. On what was it? Oh, modern day debate. And I'm telling you what, I've been seeing this guy on my feeds left and right, and I don't even know who this guy is. Some radio host out in Las Vegas or something like that. I still haven't figured it out. Sorry, I gotta adjust my desk. I know he's been on Piers Morgan. I know he's been on a couple other debate panels and whatnot. And I listened to a little bit of it, and I was like, whatever. Then I saw that he actually had a debate with his deaf noodles. Was Trump a better pick than Kamala? So we're gonna react. I've never done a react, so we're actually gonna do a react. This is Brian Shapiro. That's who I'm talking about, and then deaf noodles. Don't even know who he is either, but this is the guy. This is the guy that has been showing up. The guy with the little funky Peaky Blinders type of hat. Has been showing up on a lot of my feeds. So we're gonna watch this, and we're gonna see who this guy is. It is a 3-hour. I don't know if we're gonna actually listen to 3 hours worth of it. It's almost 10 o'clock. I might go until midnight. We'll see. Here we go. We're gonna listen to it. Modern day debate. Was Trump a better pick than Kamala?
On the 25th, and then we're going to, and the 26th. And we're going to be doing these early bird tickets still, probably like last week you can get it. It's going to sell out for sure. So come out, meet us. James is going to be there. I'm going to be there. A bunch of great debaters are going to be there. And without further ado, we're going to get...
I'm not really worried about that. Blah, 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 blah. Is he going to... Oh, he's going to keep that up all night. Okay. So let's...
us.
I never understood how type A moms
ads.
did it until I finally figured out their
What
secret.
happens?
I kept seeing moms.
What happens?
James going to be there. I'm going to be there. A bunch of great debaters are going to be there. And without further ado, we're going to get into some opening statements.
All right, here we go.
I believe Dennis is going to go first, and he's going to give a 5 to 10 minute opening. Pretty fluid. If you want to concede your time early, you're welcome to do so. And then we'll hit Brian's opening after, get into a 60-minute rebuttal, kind of open dialogue, and then we'll go into the Q&A.
This.
So, whenever you're ready, Dennis,
we're gonna full
go
screen
for
that.
it.
All right. Well,
son of a gun.
so Trump was a better pick than Kamala Harris. So that's the topic we're talking about today. The reason why I believe that Trump was a far better pick than Kamala Harris is, well, there's several reasons, right? When you look at Kamala Harris's time as vice president, she was one of the most.
There we go. All right. We're going to back this up just a little bit. Just a little bit. We'll go right here.
I'm going to be there. A bunch of great debaters are going to be
back
there.
This up a little bit.
And without further ado, we're going to get into some opening statements. I believe Dennis is going to go first, and he's going to give a 5 to 10 minute opening. Pretty fluid. If you want to concede your time early, you're welcome to do so.
Their connection sucks.
And then we'll hit Brian's opening after, get into a 60-minute rebuttal, kind of open dialogue, and then we'll go into the Q&A.
While they're going
so,
there.
Whenever you're ready, Dennis, go for it.
There we go. That's much
better.
All
right. Well, so Trump was a better pick than Kamala Harris. So that's the topic we're talking about today. The reason why I believe that Trump was a far better pick than Kamala Harris is, well, there's several reasons, right? When you look at Kamala Harris's time as vice president, she was one of the most ineffective vice presidents, one of the most feckless leaders that we ever had in the history of this country. She was a so-called border czar and absolutely failed at that. And then during the presidential election, just basically tried to rewrite her record as the border czar. She was also, I mean, if you just look at her history within the Democrat Party itself, when she ran for president, in 2020, she had absolutely no support from the party. She was the first candidate to drop out. They ended up calling an audible last minute when George Clooney ended up writing
their connection sucks,
an op-ed, and basically saying that Joe Biden was no longer a viable candidate.
Here.
So the entire party decided to coalesce around her. Not very democratic of the Democrat Party to do that. I don't think she was the first choice for most Democrats. I mean, it was a very interesting thing to witness play out in real time, because you would see on television up until the week before she was announced as she was, appointed as the nominee. You would turn on CNN or any mainstream media source, you would hear a lot of leftists and Democrat commentators, and all of them were in unison, basically saying that she wasn't going to be the nominee, that she wasn't going to take the nomination, that she was not going to be a good candidate if she did. And then all of a sudden, when she got nominated, everybody coalesced around her. But outside of her record as a border czar, she also had a very strange position when it comes to the conflict in Israel and Gaza. I'm sure we're going to get into some of that today. And she had her position often kind of changed. It wasn't even a nuanced approach. She kind of tried to hold every position at once. The one consistent thing that she managed to do is she distanced herself from AIPAC. But outside of that, I would say she's the perfect example of a corporate politician who stands for nothing and who will just move with the wind wherever it benefits her career. And you see that. You see that she is just absolutely awful when it comes to leadership. She will even hurt her own community when it benefits her. The truancy case in Oakland is by far one of the most egregious cases of bad leadership in the history of California. I would go as far to say the fact that she was enforcing truancy laws in Oakland, and she went as far as this young girl was in the hospital, and she had her mother arrested. Absolutely insane. I think that itself disqualified her from leadership, from being in the upper echelons of our government. Right now, she's obviously taking every single major popular position.
Damn.
She's obviously disavowing the
sucks.
Trump's
This is not me.
handle of the conflict in Iran.
This is not me.
Again, we're going to get into that. I think that
bag.
there's a lot to say that she would have had a much different approach if we look at her style of governance versus what Trump would have done. I think that Trump's statements during debates were truly prophetic as far as how she would have handled it. She
freaking audio all the time.
Just a perfect example of weak Democrat progressive leadership. And I think, honestly, it's good for the Democrats long run that she is on the sidelines, because I've even seen recent studies and polling within the Democrat Party itself that they've acknowledged that somebody like that has no ability to win or govern in America. In fact, some internal Democrat polling is showing that they're leaning towards a white Christian male so that they can hope to win this next presidential election. So, I mean, all you have to look at to see how awful of a candidate and a leader she would have been for the country is to look at how Democrats see her, and that's the purest form of indictment. If your own party thinks that you're an awful leader and shouldn't be in leadership, then I think that says it for itself. And that's where I'm going to leave it for now.
All right.
Okay. You guys hear me all right? Okay. Well, okay.
Double check to see if turning down the bit rate will actually help here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is horrible.
Gotcha.
Connection's horrible.
Kind of annoying. I appreciate the chat being so
patient. No,
vocal.
They're not being patient. I'm not displaying the chat,
guys.
but yeah, they're not being patient.
And then we'll let Brian get into his, just so everybody can be heard properly.
This is crazy. Crazy shitty. This is like playing video games on. Oh my God, what the hell is that? What the hell is this? Stupid ads.
Okay. This should help a little bit.
But what I was saying, this is like playing video
We'll have
games
a little
back
bit of
in
a lag
19,
for a second
you know,
as it
98
changes.
with dial-up. It's horrible.
Okay, change. Let's see if my hand movement is working. All right. I
That's what
think
fiber's
that's
for, bitch.
a little better.
Okay. You just let me know.
I can hear the audio fine on my stream that I'm watching on my phone, and it should be good.
He's watching it on his phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Go
Which
ahead,
is
Brian.
what we all do.
Okay. So first of all, gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to do this. I love a good debate. Let's get right into it. If you notice, Dennis, this is about whether Kamala would have been a better candidate or Donald Trump. But if you notice, Dennis didn't give a lot of accolades to what Donald Trump is doing. I can tell you, first of all, let me just correct Dennis with respect. Kamala Harris wasn't the border czar. It was Mayorkas, and Kamala Harris in the job of the vice president.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Who was the border czar during the Biden administration? I'm pretty sure. It might be in Mayorkas, but let me see. Yeah. So we're gonna we're gonna oh no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do this, and I'm pretty sure here we're gonna flip this over right there. Yeah. All right. So my understanding, this is by Grok. Vice President Kamala Harris was widely referred to as the border czar or border tar during the Biden administration, though the exact title was informal and the scope of her role has been heavily debated. Biden publicly tasked Harris with leading U.S. diplomatic efforts to address migration from Central America's northern triangle countries, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, and Mexico. He described her as the point person to work on root causes of migration. There's no such title as border czar. The media and political usage in 2021, numerous outlets, including some that later pushed back, and lawmakers described Harris this way. Congressional resolutions from Republicans explicitly called her the administration's border czar. Who handled the actual border operation? So, we're talking semantics here. While Biden actually called her the border czar, Alejandro Mayorkas was the Secretary of Homeland Security, held primary responsibility for the border security. So, I mean, I don't know. Let's see.
Is not policymaking. That's number one. Number two, right now, the situation that we have in Iran, 100% would not be happening if Kamala Harris was the president of the United States. Now, Kamala wasn't my first.
You can't say that because you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know. You're just making it up. Just making it up.
First, second, or third pick. And in a perfect world, I wish Joe Biden stepped down sooner. But that's not what this debate is about. It's about whether Kamala would have been a better candidate. She wouldn't have stolen $175 billion from the American consumers. We wouldn't have these stupid tariffs.
He doesn't like tariffs. He doesn't like tariffs.
Wouldn't have tweeted out, the whole civilization will die tonight. On Easter Sunday, she wouldn't have talked to, said, quote, open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards. I can guarantee you that she wouldn't have rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin, lying and saying that she would have ended the war within 24 hours. She wouldn't have been a puppet for Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu. Apparently, Donald Trump does anything, everything.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm gonna back that up a little bit. I gotta re-listen to that just a little bit. Let's see where we're at. We're gonna listen to that just a minute back. A minute back.
On my stream that I'm watching,
United States again, not my first, second, or third pick. I agree, Dennis. Would have been a better candidate or Donald Trump. But if you notice, Dennis didn't give a lot of accolades to what Donald Trump is doing. I can tell you, first of all, let me just correct Dennis with respect. Kamala Harris wasn't the border czar. It was Mayorkas. And Kamala Harris in the job of the vice president is not
Mayorkas was not the border czar.
Policymaking. That's number one. Number two, right now, the situation that we have in Iran, 100% would not be happening.
Couldn't say that because she's not in the office, so that's speculation.
If Kamala Harris was the president of the United States. Now, Kamala wasn't my first, second, or third pick. And in a perfect world, I wish Joe Biden stepped down sooner. But that's not what this debate is about. It's about whether Kamala would have been a better candidate. She wouldn't have stolen $175 billion.
No, that wasn't the topic.
From the American consumers, we wouldn't have these stupid tariffs. She wouldn't have tweeted out, the whole civilization will die tonight. On Easter Sunday, she wouldn't have talked to, said, quote, open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards.
You're
I
right.
can
She
guarantee
wouldn't
you
have
that
said
she
that.
wouldn't have rolled
She
out the
would
red
not have
carpet
said that.
for Vladimir Putin, lying and saying that she would have ended the war within 24 hours. She wouldn't have been a puppet for Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu. Apparently,
She would have
Donald Trump
sucked
does
his
anything,
dick.
everything that Benjamin Netanyahu tells him to do. We would not have been in this war. She
Oh, he
didn't even
finally
want to
switched his
meet with
mic.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Now we
When
can
you
hear
look
him.
at the economy and you look at where we're headed and where we're going when it comes to inflation, when Joe Biden left office, our unemployment rate was at 4.1%. Higher now. What's lower besides eggs and a few vegetables? Everything else is higher. Gas prices are through the roof. She wouldn't have given the biggest tax breaks.
Right. Inflation last year ended at a 2.7% inflation rate. Gas was at just above $2 before the Iran stuff. So Iran started 4 weeks ago. So we've had almost 13, 14 months. Yeah, if you're hearing this, my dog's going crazy. I'm gonna have to go shut him up. 13, 14 months of gas prices going down. I don't know what this guy's talking about.
To the top 1%, $100 billion Donald Trump gave. And it's why his approval numbers are in the toilet. It's why he's in the low 30s right now, polling at around 20% with independents. Kamala Harris wouldn't have been a perfect president, but she certainly would have had empathy for people. She certainly wouldn't have worn a baseball cap when our brave men and women are coming home in caskets. She wouldn't have embarrassed us on the world stage. People are laughing at us right now. And Taco Trump on Tuesday did it again today. And we can get into that. And I can give you guys examples of how he caved and how he doesn't want the statement out. And he's threatening CNN because Iran has declared victory today. But Donald Trump does not want you to know that. He wants to think that we have won. We're spending $2 billion a day on this war. Let me repeat. $2 billion a day. While Donald Trump has taken Medicaid away from 20 million people, Kamala wouldn't have taken Medicaid away from people that desperately need it, or food stamps, and Kamala would not have started another ill-advised and illegal war. I would have thought that Republicans would have learned from that, dating back to years ago with George W. Bush, when we were told there were weapons of mass destruction. This war is illegal. It should have never happened. But all of a sudden, when
I don't understand why he's saying it's illegal. You might not like it, but I don't know how it's illegal.
Republicans say, hey, let's go to war, all of a sudden we can print money. Have you guys received $5,000 Doge checks? I haven't. Have you guys received tariff checks? I haven't. None of this stuff would have been happening if Kamala.
All right. So Doge checks, not going to happen because that's a congressional thing. Tariff thing isn't going to happen. But the fact that there's a possibility wouldn't have happened. But go ahead. Let's listen. Don't know.
Harris was president of the United States. Again, not my first, second, or third pick. I agree, Dennis. In a perfect world, I wish Joe Biden stepped down sooner. Yes, I do. But the bottom line is even MAGA Republicans right now many of them are upset with where this country is going right now. They're upset with Donald Trump's lack of leadership. And even people like Alex Jones, you've actually lost the Tucker Carlsons and the Alex Joneses and the Marjorie Taylor Greens and others that want to invoke.
The only reason why they've lost them is because of the actions with Iran. But at the same time, they are Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson are fair weather entertainers, meaning that they're going to go like this and they're going to talk about shit. And in 6 months' time, Trump's going to be their number one man. I mean, you can't take that. It's a grain of salt.
The 25th Amendment. I can't imagine that any Democrats right now, a year and a half into Kamala's presidency, would have been calling for the 25th Amendment.
Yeah, the reason why the Democrats wouldn't do it was because they're lock, stock, and barrel. They're a cult.
This man is losing his mind. We're in another illegal war, printing money because apparently we have all the money right now, and our economy is in the shitter, for lack of a better term. So
I don't think this guy lives in the same country that we all do. I really don't. The economy is not in the shitter. Now, are we experiencing a little pinch at the pump? Yeah, I am. I drive 200 miles a day. I feel it. But it's not in the shitter.
So there's no doubt in my mind, as I land my plane here, that if Kamala had won, we wouldn't have been in a war in Iran. We wouldn't have lost these soldiers. We certainly wouldn't have bombed and killed 175 school children. Okay. The economy would.
Yeah, you're right. He's 100% right there. Yeah, I will agree with him right there. If Kamala was in charge right now, Iran would still be building nuclear weapons. Iran would still be building their arsenal. Yeah, no, he's right. None of that would have happened. You're 100% right. 100% right.
Would have been headed in the correct direction as it was when Joe Biden left office. To me, it's clear as day. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree with him.
All right, Brian,
I agree with him.
I
there.
appreciate that.
That
it
would never
seems
have
like
happened.
your
That would never have happened.
your
You're right.
laptop is still connected as far as the mic goes.
Because you're fucking retard.
It was
Weird.
It was clipping out. I had to turn it all the way down on OBS on my side.
You know what? You know what? That's completely my fault.
Yeah, of course it is.
Hold on a second. I got it.
Again.
Hold on a second here. I'm into the earbuds, which I don't want. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's
That was my.
so much clearer.
So sorry. That was my bad, guys. I had the earbuds that were the microphones as well, which we don't want.
Apparently
that
not.
sounds better.
Yeah, that sounds 10 times better. Thank you so much. All
Sorry
right.
about that, man. What a great monologue, and the audio didn't sound good. I'm
Oh
sorry.
man, it was just sounded like you were yelling, which it seems on brand, brother.
I do that a lot. That's on brand.
Yeah. So okay, we're going to get into the 60-minute open dialogue. Dennis, could you check your mic one more time since I was
mic check 1 2.
really messing with the audio there during that.
Yay.
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
Let's get into the debate now. They've both done opening
You could definitely
monologues, opening questions, which is, both of them kind of got me kind of boring. So we're going to see because like I said, I mean,
just a slight bit.
All I know is the
Just
guy
a
in the
little bit.
Peaky Blinders
And
hat
then-
is
Yeah. Go ahead whenever you're ready. I'm going to start the
We'll see.
the
Let's
clock
see where
now.
this
And if
is
you
at.
guys start kind of talking over each other too much, we're going to go ahead and stop it and cut it into 60-minute or 60-second back and forth or 2 minutes, depending on what you guys want to do. Appreciate everybody in the chat for letting me know what's going on, and then get your super chats in for the Q&A and your tickets to DebateCon 8. All righty. Go ahead, Dennis.
Let's listen.
Well, I think it's obvious that the country would have been in a far worse position if Kamala Harris had actually been elected president as a candidate. She was just genuinely awful. She spent more money than anybody else in the history of a presidential campaign, over $1 billion. She spent an exorbitant amount of money building a studio for herself. So she could be on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which ultimately just floundered. She couldn't even come to terms with having an unscripted interview with Joe Rogan. That's how terrified she is of going off of the regular talking points. You mentioned tariffs. It's interesting because Kamala Harris isn't necessarily against tariffs. She's against the tariffs in the sense of imposing our commercial negotiations on top of for better commercial negotiations. She's actually for tariffs when it comes to electric EV mandates, when it comes to these sorts of woke environmental policies that have crippled my state of California, that you can't even build.
Okay, so the president's really not going to have anything to do with California because California's already fucked up. So he just lost me on that one.
You can even change your garage
That was
door
stupid
without having
argument.
to get 9
That was stupid
inspections on
argument.
it. That's what Kamala Harris, that's what her vision for the whole country is. So yeah,
That was a stupid argument.
It's funny you bring up all these points. You just had a whole bunch of word vomit for about 5 minutes where you just.
Are we not at war? Are we not at war with
are
Iran?
at war,
Are we
and
not?
I very much,
Was that
and I
word
very
vomit?
much disavow the war. I don't think it's a good idea. I have called Trump
I don't
out
think it
from
is
the
either.
beginning. I'm part of that coalition within the
Can I
Republican
ask you,
Party
Dennis?
that's
Dennis, can I ask
vocally
you?
against it.
Can you ask you?
Can I ask you, Dennis?
let's go.
Who was the guy who said he was going to be a war-free peace president and there was going to be no types of regime change? I'm sorry, who was the guy who said that?
Trust me, I'm equally critical of
Yeah.
Trump, and this is the difference.
I don't think you are. I don't think you are.
This is the difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. We can actually be critical of our leaders. You guys demonstrated during this last election that whoever you put up, whoever you anoint as leader of your party, whether through a Democratic primary or not, whether it's somebody appointed by an elite, you guys all get behind that person and you create this echo chamber where no criticism is allowed.
Which is what they
So
did.
you don't.
So
You're wrong.
So is Massey.
You're-
So is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Which is what they did. They coalesced, from one to the other. They did that. Yeah, that's true.
So are many other
Good
people
argument.
in our coalition.
Well,
Well, first of all,
statement.
Marjorie Taylor Greene has been critical because Donald Trump didn't endorse her. We're talking about 1 or 2% of elected officials that are Republicans.
No,
who,
no,
by the
no,
way,
no,
have
no. She's not critical because Trump didn't endorse her. She's critical because she didn't like the direction that Trump was going, and she has a mandate to be able to say that. And she got fed up with the freaking deep state freaking stuff. The good old boy club. That's what she got tired of. It wasn't because he didn't want to endorse her.
have an opportunity to stop this war, but they don't have the backbone to do it. I've been very critical of the Democrat Party. I was very critical of Joe Biden. He should have stepped down sooner. If you want to talk about word vomit,
I don't know this guy, so I'd have to go back to his previous podcast and find out if he was critical or not.
you just talked about some
Maybe he was.
podcast that Kamala was in that she spent a lot of money for, but you don't talk about
You don't think that level of spending and mismanagement
Hold
of
on,
donor
let's
money
talk
is
about that.
representative of bad governance?
Let's
of
talk
how
about
awful
that.
she would be with money and
Sure,
governance?
sure. But I'm not going to talk about some
So
podcast.
you agree to that?
What I'm going to hold on. I'm not going to talk about some podcast. I'm going to talk about the fact that when Donald Trump was president, he got his $8.2 trillion in debt. But you'll equally go after both sides. But you want to talk about some stupid podcast?
Well, let's talk about how inflation went out of control when Kamala Harris was vice president.
Whoa. What are we? Oh, this is so hard to follow.
Dennis, before we talk about that,
the borders are, but she was actually appointed. She had a special appointment from the president.
I'm happy.
President Biden to take care of the border.
Dennis,
and
could you turn your mic up
20
just a
million
little
people
bit,
entered
sir?
the country during that period.
Dennis.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
Could you turn your mic up just a little bit?
A tad. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I'm happy. I'm happy to talk about what Dennis just said, and I'll start by saying this. Joe Biden didn't ask, or it wasn't his choice to get us into a global pandemic. He took that over. He also didn't ask Vladimir Putin to invade Ukraine. But you see, when Joe Biden is president of the United States, you guys forget about cause. Hold on. You guys forget about cause and effect. Just give me another 30 seconds here. Donald Trump decided to go to war in Iran, a very unpopular.
He didn't decide. That's number one. That's not even.
Yes, he did.
Look, the most charitable take on this, the most charitable person who's seen everything play out wouldn't agree with you that he decided. Even
So whose
Marco
choice was it?
Rubio, Tom Cotton, Speaker Johnson all said it was a
very
preemptive
credible
strike
people.
because Israel
And where's the evidence?
was going to
Okay.
attack Iran, and we
Right, and
preemptively struck so that we protected American interests in the area.
Dennis, where's the evidence?
Guess who didn't do that when Russia invaded Ukraine? Guess who didn't do that?
First of all,
Biden.
hold on. Let's stick
Biden didn't
with
do that
Iran
'cause
for a
he's
moment.
weak.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Again,
Kamala, she wouldn't have done it. You know what her foreign policy is? You know what? You remember that interview where she's asked, "Oh, what would you do in this?" She's like, "Just don't. That's her foreign policy."
Again,
she's some middle school teacher.
Again, that's not true. So basically, what you're saying, based with no evidence, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, nobody in the Trump administration has presented any evidence that Iran was an imminent threat to the United
Let me make
States
sure
of
I hear
America.
that right.
None, zero. But
Oh,
yet
I agree
I'm
on
supposed.
that.
Hold on. I want to hear that
I'm not
right.
going to
We're
talk
gonna
about
back
some
it up.
podcast. I'm going to talk about the fact that when Donald Trump was president, he got us $8.2 trillion in debt.
Yeah,
but you'll equally go after both sides, but you want to talk about some stupid podcast.
Well, let's talk about how inflation went out of control when Kamala Harris was
Real
vice
quick, Dennis,
Yeah,
before we
let's
talk
go
about
there.
that,
the borders are, but she was actually appointed. She had a special appointment from
Sure.
the president.
I'm happy.
from President
Dennis.
Biden to take care of the border.
Dennis,
And
could you turn your
about
mic up
20
just a
million
little
people
bit,
entered the
sir?
country during
Man,
that
this
period.
is so.
Dennis,
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
could you turn your mic up just a little bit?
No.
A tad? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
I'm happy. I'm happy to talk about what Dennis just said, and I'll start by saying this. Joe Biden didn't ask, or it wasn't his choice to get us into a global pandemic. He took
It wasn't his choice to get into a global pandemic. Okay.
that over. He also didn't ask Vladimir Putin to invade Ukraine.
No, he did not ask.
But you
Yeah.
see, when Joe Biden is president of the United States, you guys forget about
Again.
cause. Hold on. You guys forget about cause and effect. Just give me another 30 seconds here. Donald Trump decided to go to war in Iran, a very
He
unpopular.
didn't decide. That's
Yes,
number
he did.
one. That's not even
Yes, he did.
not. Look, the most charitable take on this, the most charitable person who's seen everything play out wouldn't agree with you that he decided. Even
So whose
Marco
choice was it?
Rubio, Tom Cotton, Speaker
Yeah.
Johnson all said it was
Yeah,
a
very
preemptive
credible
strike
people.
because Israel
where's the
was
evidence?
going to
Okay.
attack Iran, and we
Right, and
preemptively struck so
and-
that we protected American interests in
okay.
the area.
Dennis,
All
where?
right. So this is the problem. Okay. This is the problem I'm having with this guy. All right. If you can tell, while this deaf noodle guys is actually talking, Brian is actively waiting to interject something. It's a media tactic. We're going to interrupt. We're going to try and interject our stuff. It's not he's not actively listening to the argument. He's not listening to counter. He's got his points, and seriously, he's constantly like,
Where's the evidence?
Guess who didn't do that when Russia invaded Ukraine? Guess who didn't do that?
First of all, hold
Biden.
on. Let's stick.
Biden
Let's
didn't
stick
do
with
that
Iran
'cause
for a
he's
moment.
weak, okay.
Okay.
Same thing with
Again.
Kamala. She wouldn't have done it. You know what
Okay.
her foreign policy is? You know what? You remember that interview where she's asked, "Oh, what would you do in this?" She's like, "Just don't. That's her
Okay,
foreign policy." She's like
again,
she's
that
some middle school teacher.
again, that's not true. So basically, what you're saying, based with no evidence, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth, nobody in the Trump administration has presented any evidence that Iran was an imminent threat to the United States of America.
Wasn't an imminent threat to the United States of America. All right. So he's pro-Iran.
None, zero.
He's pro-Iran.
But
Oh,
yet
I agree
I'm
on
supposed.
that.
He's
Not
pro-Iran.
only do I agree on that, but I also don't like the hypocritical stance of claiming that the bunker buster bombs had taken care of the job, and all of a sudden we have to go back in to finish out the job. So
then why are you
there's
saying-
hypocrisy there?
You're
We
making
don't
my
have to,
argument. You're making my argument for me. Then it
No,
was
I'm not making
Donald
your
Trump's
argument
choice.
for you. I'm
Yes, you
not
are.
being partisan, and I'm recognizing.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I want to actually look at this again, because my understanding is, and I could be completely wrong. I can be completely wrong. The prompt. I'm looking for the prompt, because my understanding was the prompt was, let's see our videos. I don't get this. I don't get this. Live. Was Trump a better pick than Kamala? That was Trump a better pick than Kamala. Okay.
Recognizing the truth of the situation.
Okay.
This is the problem with Democrats and people. This is why you are sitting here and disingenuously arguing in favor of one of the worst leaders in the history of this country, Kamala Harris, because you guys are so partisan. You'll say, "No, I take criticism."
Okay,
and then
so hold
all of
on.
a sudden
We
you
gotta
just
back
fall
up.
in line,
Okay,
and you're
we gotta
defending the
back up.
person that
I'm
the
gonna listen.
plurality.
Let me
of
be
Right
clear.
I gotta go
all,
pee.
she
Let me-
lost every swing
Keep it
Okay.
going.
Do you
So let me
understand
be clear.
how you're arguing a losing battle? Nobody thought she was good.
Yeah. So Dennis, let me just give me a minute here. First of all, Dennis doesn't know much about me, and that's okay. I'll fill him in on something. Dennis, I'm not even a Democrat. I lean to the left
Oh,
on
you're not?
social issues. I did not vote for Barack Obama. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton. So it's not you guys. You got to stop saying that. I do lean to the left on social issues. Let me be very clear.
What
I
are you
would have voted for.
registered as?
I'm a registered independent. I would have voted
Okay.
for a ham sandwich under Donald Trump rather than Donald Trump. Do you want to know
Hey,
why?
here's a fun fact.
I'll tell you why. Well,
Here's the
let
fun
me just
fact.
finish.
It'll add to your thing. I'm running for office in California as a Republican.
you are.
But I rejected the endorsement of my party, but I have received an endorsement from the American Independent Party. So
Okay, well, okay, good. So first of all, the reason why I'm saying Kamala would have been a better president, I never said Kamala was perfect or she would have been great. But here's something I will tell you: Kamala Harris is not a liable sexual abuser. She's not a 34 count felon. She's not involved in a billions and billions of dollar crypto scheme
no,
scandal.
she's even worse.
Okay?
She's the kind of person that will
No,
arrest
she's
a
not.
mother
Hold on. Okay.
who's
No,
taking
that's
care of a
insane.
child
You gotta let me
for
finish.
having cancer.
Dennis,
Okay,
okay.
that's the
So
kind
Dennis-
for truancy.
Dennis, if you really want to,
even worse.
yeah, Dennis, if you really want to compare the moral equivalency of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, who, by the way, is in the Epstein files more times than Jesus' name is in the Bible, I'm happy to have that
we can debate
conversation
that.
with
That's
you.
actually a complete
Okay.
straw man.
Okay, you voted for a guy who is a liable sexual abuser. You voted for a guy whose own ex-wife said that he raped her. You voted for a guy who is a scam artist, whether it's Trump University. I can go down the list of the discrimination lawsuits that he had to pay out over time. You voted
and
for the
that
guy
says
who
how
you
bad
voted,
Kamala Harris
you voted,
is.
you
That's
voted
not
for
just
the
me.
No,
By
I'll
the way,
tell you
not
what it
just
says.
me.
No, I'll tell you what it
71
says.
million Americans voted.
I'll tell you what it says.
72 million
no,
Americans voted for him.
I'll tell you what it
okay?
says.
The
It shows how
majority of Americans,
No.
every swing state.
not true.
That's
Well,
how
first of
bad
all-
Kamala Harris was. That's how awful she was.
I'm talking aluminum, antiperspirant, yellow stains, sporty scents, crimes no man should ever have to deal with. I've helped millions get the deodorant they deserve. Wood barrel bourbon, fresh falls, and coastal mists. So don't hesitate. Reach out now. I'll fight for your pips.
Taxes was chasing updates and getting nowhere. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you. While keeping you in the
Fucking
loop.
ads. Damn it. Bastards.
Sorry about that. It also exposes how
Woof. So yeah, I'm gonna have to rewind that shit just a little bit. Hold on. Because what's funny is yeah.
A minute here. First of all, Dennis doesn't know much about me, and that's okay. I'll fill him in on something. Dennis, I'm not even a Democrat. I lean to the left on social issues. I did not vote for Barack Obama. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton. So it's not you guys. You got to stop saying that. I do lean to the left on social issues. Let me be very clear. I would have voted for.
Now we
I'm a
know he
registered
leans left on
independent.
the
I would have
social.
voted
Okay.
for a ham sandwich under Donald Trump rather than Donald Trump. Do you want to know
Hey,
why?
here's a fun fact.
I'll tell you why. Well,
here's the fun
let me just
fact.
finish.
It'll add to your thing. I'm running for office in California as a Republican.
you are.
But I rejected the endorsement of my party, but I have received an endorsement from the American Independent Party. So
Okay, well, okay, good. So first of all, the reason why I'm saying Kamala would have been a better president, I never said Kamala was perfect or she would have been great. But here's something I will tell you: Kamala Harris is not a liable sexual abuser. She's not a.
All right. These are Democrat talking points right here. He's gonna throw out some Democrat talking points. I guarantee you, and I haven't listened to this. I have not. I was peeing. 34 count felon.
34 count felon.
Boom.
She's not involved in a billions and billions of dollar crypto scheme
No,
scandal.
she's even worse.
Okay?
She's the kind of person that will arrest
she's
a
not.
mother
Hold on. Okay.
who's
No,
taking
that's
care of a
insane.
child
You gotta let me
for
finish.
having cancer.
It's fun.
Dennis,
Okay,
okay.
It's
That's the
fun.
So
kind of
Dennis-
plot for truancy.
Dennis, if you really want
It's
to,
even worse.
yeah, Dennis, if you really want to compare the moral
is this
equivalency of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, who, by the way, is in the Epstein files more times than Jesus' name is in the Bible, I'm happy to have that
we can debate
conversation
that.
with
That's
you.
actually,
Oh my
that's
God.
a complete
Okay.
straw man.
Okay, you voted for a guy who is a liable sexual abuser. You voted for a
Liable
guy whose
sexual
own
abuser.
ex-wife said that he raped her. You voted for a guy who is a scam artist, whether it's Trump University. I can go down the list of the discrimination lawsuits that he had to pay out over time. You
And
voted for
that
the guy
says
who
how
you
bad
voted-
Kamala
you
Harris
voted
is.
you
That's
voted
not
for
just
the
me.
No,
By
I'll
the
tell
way,
you
not
what it
just
says.
me,
No, I'll tell you what it
71
says.
million.
This Deaf Noodle makes a point. That, I mean, seriously. Here it is. And that's he won with all of that against him, against Kamala Harris.
Million Americans voted.
I'll tell you what it says. It shows
72 million
no,
Americans voted for him.
I'll tell you what it
okay?
says.
The
It shows how
majority of Americans,
No.
every swing state.
not true.
Is he gonna
That's
say how
how bad
stupid we are?
Kamala Harris was. That's how awful she was. I can't.
Hey, and he muted himself.
Sorry
He
about
muted
that. It
himself.
also exposes how ignorant and ill-informed so many people in this
Boom. He just called half of the U.S. ignorant and ill-informed. You don't agree with me, you're ignorant and ill-informed. Or maybe they didn't give a shit.
country. And by the way,
You're saying half the
49
country is ignorant?
49
Really?
hold
Why-
on,
why
let me
would you ever say
let me
that?
finish. Let me
That
finish.
is-
First of all,
that's actually disgusting.
everything Dennis,
That's
everything you
disgusting
say,
that you would call half
Dennis,
the country ignorant.
Dennis, you got to let Dennis. You got to
Okay,
let
I'm
me
sorry.
finish,
I
Dennis.
apologize.
You got to
Let's
let me
go.
finish. First of all, half the country didn't vote for Donald Trump. For the people that voted,
More than half the
49
country, yes.
dude, you got to let me talk for more than 10 seconds, man. It's
Go
like
ahead.
every 5 or 10 seconds.
All right,
Yeah, but he does the same thing. So fuck it.
I got you.
I don't think we have to do this. I've done plenty of debates like this. I don't think we need to do that. You got to let me finish.
I'll let you
49
finish. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Thank you. 49% of the people who voted for Donald Trump. Okay. And if we're going to go to half the country, right now he's in the low 30s and a lot of people regret their vote. Okay. So
Whoa.
don't give me the.
Whoa. 49% of the country voted for him, and he still won the popular vote.
Nonsense
What?
that, if there's one thing that Donald Trump exposed, it's how many stupid people there are in this country. And we wouldn't be.
I'm going to agree with him there. I am going to agree with him there that Donald Trump did expose that there are a bunch of stupid people in this country. A bunch of stupid people in this country. You are 100% right there, Brian. Not saying that you think it's going to help you, but you're right. And we are 30 almost 40 minutes into this, and wow.
In this war right now, if so many people didn't vote. Now, a lot of people didn't vote for Kamala because she was a woman. I think a lot of people were not ready for that, unfortunately, and it's very, very sad. But the fact of the matter is, if it's between Trump and Kamala's not on the Epstein files thousands of times. Kamala doesn't have 25 people that have accused her of rape or sexual assault. She's not a liable sexual abuser. Last I checked, she hasn't made billions and billions of dollars in a swindling crypto scandal. So if you want to compare the moral equivalency between Kamala Harris, who, by the way, is a pretty good mother and a pretty good wife and a decent human being. If you want to talk about policy, I'm happy to go into that with you. But please don't try to conflate the morals who Donald Trump, who said, I don't respect John McCain because he was captured, who dodged the military multiple times. You're going to lose that argument, dude. You're going to lose that argument.
So here's the thing about that is I don't think this guy really understands. I don't think he gets the pulse of the country. I really don't. I don't think half these debate bros and people who are trying to make a name for themselves really get the pulse of the country. I don't think they do. I don't think they do. I don't think they understand Donald Trump. I don't think they understand, why a majority of the country voted for him not once but twice. 3 times actually, but twice where he wins. I don't think that they I don't think they get it. I really don't think they get it. I don't think this guy gets it either.
Well, I think it's ironic that you bring up the Epstein files, considering that Democrats had the ability to release it and refuse to do it, and they had to come up to the guy who's apparently
that's a bullshit argument. Now, he could have said, instead of, the Democrats had the ability, they didn't to a certain degree. They could have pressed it. They could have, which is what the Trump administration and the DOJ did. I think that, they pressed the courts to an extent to where they forced them to open it up. The Democrats did have the ability to do that. I just don't think anybody cared about it because, up until Trump actually threw that out there, and it was a conspiracy theory, and it was a very, Republican MAGA talking point. And the Democrats were like, I think that the Democrats realized that it was a nothing burger for the most part, and it's turned out to be a nothing burger, and it's become a farce to an extent. I really do. And they realized that, and so they weren't going to pursue it, and they were smart not to touch it because, again, it was, seems to be pretty much of a nothing burger.
Apparently as many times as you say he is to do it. And by the way, it's a complete straw man to actually even mention it like that. I thought you would have learned from trying to say this to Kai. Kai Schwemmer completely owned you on that one. He demonstrated the length of first off, the length of the Bible versus the 3 million pages of Epstein files. Next, the majority of the mentions of Trump, it's mostly Epstein trying to figure out how to take Trump down. Epstein hated Trump. And it's been well documented. Trump has done. He's a morally flawed person, but that's not why myself and the vast majority of Americans in every swing state voted for Trump. It's because the entire country recognized that we needed leadership.
He says it's not true, but I'm trying to figure out why is it not true.
And Kamala Harris just wasn't the person to do it. And obviously there's an argument to be made about when he came into office versus where he is at now. I obviously there are a lot of decisions of his, especially as of late, especially getting involved in the Iran war, that I personally do not agree with. Even the rollout of the Epstein files, I thought that was a disaster. Pam Bondi completely flubbed that one.
She did.
Why did she do that? Why do you think she flubbed it? Who was she protecting, Dennis?
We can sit here and speculate all day. It's flubbed. I'm grateful she's been fired. I don't know, dude. I don't know why she.
You don't know? Let me ask you a question. By the way, you mentioned Epstein. Let's talk about that. So I don't know if you're aware of this.
No. Answer your own question. Why did she flub it? Because you asked a question, you didn't answer it. You pivoted to something else.
Sure. The reason why
go ahead and speculate.
Sure. It's not speculation. When Kash Patel was asked under oath 8 times, did you tell Pam Bondi that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? 8 times he refused to answer the question. Do you want to know why? Because they all knew he was all over the Epstein files.
So I remember that testifying, and because it wasn't Kash Patel's position to disclose any information, The FBI is investigating. They investigate. Okay. And I don't think this guy understands the difference between investigation and prosecution. I really don't think so, because I've heard this argument several times. Pam had that information. He didn't have to tell her that. He really didn't.
Files. It's why millions of files have still not been released. It's why so many files have been redacted that we know have Donald Trump's name in it. And going back to Ghislaine Maxwell.
And that's absolutely disgraceful. It really is.
Thank you. I'm glad we agree on that. Let's talk
Yay.
about Ghislaine. Yeah.
You need to go up more?
I mean, really.
I'm
He's
almost
loud
maxed
Again,
out here,
everybody's
so you guys
over,
let me know if you need
over
me to
the
go up
Epstein.
more.
They really are.
You're being, it's George Soros. They're silencing you. It's George Soros.
They're
You're being
silencing
censored.
me. Oh, no.
So Ghislaine Maxwell, let's talk about her for a moment, because
Oh,
you
my
mentioned
God.
the Joe Biden administration. Are you aware that Maxwell was not only under investigation during the Biden administration, but those files were sealed up during the trial and after the trial, when in fact she was appealing? Now, listen, if there's any president that could have released the files and didn't, I think that's wrong. But I can tell you one thing, somebody who's not in those files, since we're talking about Kamala Harris, she's not in the Epstein files, and she wasn't partying with.
Oh, my God. Kamala is not in the Epstein files. She's not in the Epstein files. She wasn't even in the picture during that time. And Epstein was in the power broker scene, which kind of tells you she wasn't.
Jeffrey Epstein, and she wasn't Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. That's the bottom line here. So here's what we have. We have a war that we both agree on shouldn't be happening, and I'm glad we agree on that. We have a situation where so many MAGA supporters were almost excited, maybe there's a better word to describe it, of these binders and these morons that were outside in D.C. with these binders. Phase 1, phase 2 never came.
This has nothing to do with whether Kamala was better than Trump as far as being a
Kristi
candidate
Noem
goes.
was an absolute disaster. Pam Bondi was an absolute disaster.
Look,
I mean,
here's the thing.
I mean,
We
don't
can
get me
agree on a
wrong.
lot
I
of
mean,
these things.
you
I
can
think that you'll find that
you can criticize Trump for everything, from what he had for breakfast to what he had for dinner. I mean, you can criticize him for everything. You can criticize him for his past life, and what he's done presently, as far as, commander in chief and, executive orders and stuff like that. You can criticize him for that. But how does that demonstrate? This is nothing that neither of these guys are demonstrating one way or the other why Trump is better or Kamala is better. And we're 40 minutes in, and they're still talking about, attacking Trump about what he has or hasn't done. And again, I'm going to remind you, the stupid prompt is the prompt was Trump a better pick than Kamala? And neither one of these are addressing that.
there are a lot of people in the MAGA movement that
Neither
are very
one.
happy with the direction that Trump is taking. Kristi Noem was an absolute disaster. Look, the fact that she spent $1 million on a single photo shoot, and it was mostly advertisements. I mean, I was just at the airport the other day flying back from Dallas, and I saw the ads. It's almost like a joke. Like, look, Republicans are on the same side as you on this. We want an effective country. We want an effective executive.
And you think,
and look,
and you think Mark Wayne Mullen?
I do hope the Democrats take some level of accountability for their sanctuary laws, which is something that Kamala Harris supported, which is, you allowed 20-something million people into the country in just a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you do everything you can to obstruct the,
All right, now he's getting back on track.
illegal immigration enforcement inside the country. You go
Immigration was a
Tim
big
Walz,
deal
Mayor
during the
Frey
cycle.
out of Minnesota, and you're refusing to cooperate with the federal government, which is ultimately what the goal of sanctuary laws are. And that's something that Kamala Harris supported. So if she had actually been president, we would have seen it go from 20 million illegal aliens over just a few years to possibly even more. Who knows how many would have entered the country by now? And
I'm happy to talk to you about that.
Our social safety net, everything about the country would have just completely collapsed.
I'm happy to talk to you about that. First of all, if Kamala Harris was president, Renee Good and Alex Preddy would still be alive today. That's number one. Number two, per capita.
All right. Damn. Didn't address a single fucking thing that dude just said. Instead, he goes with, well, because, if Kamala Harris is alive, these two specific people would still be alive. And yet, at the same time, how many other people would have been killed or harmed or whatever because of the illegals? Yeah, that's a losing argument, Brian.
In this country, you have the better chance of being the victim of a crime from an American citizen than you do an undocumented immigrant. Number three, people's first.
No, that's false.
No, that's not false. You could look that up. First, third, and fourth amendment. First, third, and fourth amendment rights being taken away from American citizens. It's why Bovino just retired. It's why they had to go in there and call off the troops, for lack of a better term. People were being barged into their homes without a warrant. It has been seen on video. So this is the immigration issue is an issue that we've had in this country for a very, very long time. But I'll tell you one thing.
And it's been exacerbated by people like Colin.
Okay. Well, I would also bring up George W. Bush, and I go.
Oh, really? I mean, wow. He threw up George W. Bush. He threw up George W. Bush. You can't tell me this dude's not a liberal.
Vice presidency again, because you keep failing to understand the basics of this, which is the vice president is not a policymaker. If you want to blame Joe Biden and say
so this is what you're ignoring. Yes, the vice president is not a policymaker. They're the tie-breaking vote on the Senate. But they can have special appointments from the president, which is something you're refusing to acknowledge. This is on the record. She received a special appointment by President Biden to oversee the border. We had an insanely out of control border crisis. I'm sure you remember this when Greg Abbott tried to shut down the Texas border and Joe Biden sent in the trucks to open up the border again. Okay. He had Kamala Harris as one of the people on a special appointment taking care of the border. So to ignore that is to almost, it makes your point null. So
I disagree with you. First of all, I'll mention again, Mayorkas was the borders.
Yeah, see, and this is the thing. No, Mayorkas was not the border czar. And this is where he is going to land a semantic argument, because we already talked about this. Wow. And he tells himself he's not.
Are number one. Number two, I've criticized the Biden administration. I don't think they did a good job at immigration enforcement and the border. But I would also say Donald Trump has done just as bad a job at enforcing it. You have ICE agents who have 47 days of training.
Okay. It's kind of hard to say that Trump has not done good with border enforcement when they've just literally shut the border down.
Happened in Minneapolis is
kind of hard to say.
You have a bunch of people that are unqualified, that are not prepared for the job, and it's why Bovino has just retired. He retired as a disgrace. So we can talk about ICE and we can talk about the lack of or the job that they have done. And then after Renee Good is shot and, in my opinion, murdered, there's no full-on investigation, and Jonathan Ross is now a millionaire because a bunch of right-wing MAGA buffoons sent him a bunch of money with no full investigation into what happened. And the Alex Preddy shooting, absolutely unjustified as well. Listen, I want, just like most people in this country want, if you're a violent criminal or even a felon and you're undocumented, I believe you should be deported. But there are people in this country 10, 20, 30, 40 years that have families here.
10, 20, 30, 40 is not the last four. 10, 20, 30, 40 years is not the last four. And I think that is what the country is upset about, to be honest with you. They're not worried about the people who've been here for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. They're the ones who came in the last 6 years.
And there has to be an easier pathway to citizenship. There's one party that makes it more difficult.
So it's both parties. He's gonna lie right here. This is a political talking point. He's gonna lie right here.
And that's the Republican Party.
It's not the Republican Party. It is both parties. Both parties make it difficult because they want cheap labor. Simple as that. Both of them do. Lived through this in the 90s. Lived through this in the early 2000s. You know, between Bush, Obama, both of them have exacerbated this thing to an extent to where you can't point a single finger at either political party and make sure that, you know, that sticks, because that's a load of bullshit.
People 10, 15 years to become legalized citizens.
Yeah. See, 10, 15 years? No. It doesn't take 10 to 15 years. No. Here's the deal. Okay. Does it take a long time? Yes, it does. Does it take money? Yes, it does. But here's the thing about this is, so back in the early 2000s, I was dating a girl who was German. And this German who had been in the U.S. for 6 years. And it took me assisting her 6 months from beginning to end to get her citizenship. Now, it's one of those things to where, you know, you can do things in specific ways, but the process isn't that hard. It really is not. Okay? It really isn't.
Citizens. Guess what?
It's not.
That needs to change. And I always hear from Republicans, we want you coming in this country. We just want you to come in the right way. Okay.
No.
Then why don't you make it
No, they don't. They don't want you just coming the right way. They want you to come in the right way with the right reasons.
a little bit easier?
Just
I
saying.
want everybody to be vetted. I have no problem with that. But it shouldn't take 10 or 15 years for people to become naturalized citizens.
When you have a large influx of people coming in, yeah, it's going to take that long. It is. And over the last 40 years, we've had a huge influx. So it is. It's going to take that long.
By the way, I would assume, Dennis, you care about our Constitution. Then why don't you call out the Trump administration for breaking the law and deporting people that are from Mexico, that are filing the correct paperwork, that are...
I would hold him to task for that, because so far I haven't seen any breaking of the law. You've seen a lot of, rogue courts who have placed injunctions, but nothing about breaking the law.
Seeking asylum, and the Trump administration, they're literally deporting those people. It's against the law.
Here's the thing.
Call that out.
I think it's...
He's playing semantics there.
You're talking about the Republican Party being... You're ignoring the history of this country. I mean, I don't agree with this, but
founded on immigrants.
Ronald Reagan did mass amnesty. Millions of people were immediately, fast forwarded.
True, very true.
You're just being either completely...
I'm talking about right now.
Yeah. So I mean, he referred to George Bush, and now he's like, oh no. Right now. Right now means you have to take into account everything that's going on. I'll be honest with you. After just watching this for, I mean, again, we're 40, not even 45 minutes into this debate. This is boring me. And the reason why it's boring to me, because neither one of these guys are, they're spewing talking points. There's both of them are spewing freaking talking points. That's boring. So I think as it is right now, I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, I'm going to go put my dogs up, take my wife to bed, because after watching this Ben Shapiro guy that, again, this is the first time I've actually listened to one of his debates. This guy is neither one of these guys are, they're talking point spew heads. Each trying to get, I get debates. Debates is, a debate, you are trying to get not the opponent to agree with you, but to get the audience that's watching, listening to you, to come to your side. This is not a debate. This is a talking head spew fest. This is the shit that you see on Fox, on Piers Morgan, on CNN. This is a talking point spew fest. Neither one are addressing the arguments. Neither one are trying to, combat the other person's worldview. This is a waste of an hour. I'm telling you right now. I heard a little bit about this debate, and I'll be honest with you. Just
talking about
just 45 minutes. This is by far the stupidest. And these guys get paid for this stuff. Oh my God, these guys get paid for this stupid stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed because this is stupid. This was a stupid conversation. This was wasting an hour. Neither one of these guys. I don't know who this Brian Shapiro is. I don't know who this Deaf Noodle is. This Brian Shapiro kept on popping up on my feed and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. And I saw this today on YouTube, and I was like, okay, let's watch this. Neither one of them, no debate. This is, again, just stupid rhetoric bullshit. They're not going to convince anybody on the other side. They're not. And both of them think they are. Both of them think they're going to convince one or two people on their side. There's absolutely nothing that has been said by either of them over the past 9 years. Trump, Biden, Trump. Neither one of them have said something that can combat logical sense and understanding. Neither one of them. Both of them are stupid. So, I end this now. This is ridiculous. I'm going to go to bed. So, y'all have a good night. I will be back on Friday. We've got 3 new groups that we are definitely going to highlight for our Friday night indie showcase. I hope y'all have a good evening, and God bless.